the most important thing is you're not alone. And the voices will now be heard. And they've always been heard. I heard them. Our ancestors heard them before them, you know. So we are not alone.
All right. Well,
yes.
Mica, I'm super thrilled to be in this same space with you today. We've been talking a lot about you at Girls Are Awesome and how we admire your work, your activism in the feminist, intersectional, and anti-racist space. And I think there's no time like the present to have this conversation with you during Black History Month. So, hi.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Thandi. And thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure for me talking with you and being here in the same space with you. Introducing myself, I'm a lecturer. I teach in anti-racism and intersectionality. I also founded an institution, the Danish Intersectional Institution. So that is actually what I do. There is not time for so much else when you work with anti-racism and intersectionality.
But you've also, I mean, you've totally been the front runner in the Nordics on topics such as Black feminism, anti-racism, and white supremacy. When did your activism become like a real platform for change? I mean, what's your journey?
So when intersectional feminism came to Denmark, that was the biggest opportunity for us Black women to talk about feminism, because feminism has always been white. So in 2017, that was actually also the year intersectional feminism came to Denmark. And I saw a lot of white women pick up the intersectional, some of the intersectional things, tools, and talked about it. And yeah, so for me, as a Black woman and as a Black intersectional woman and queer, I knew and I know that white women have this tendency to take Black history, Black culture, Black things. So I saw it as an opportunity to let my activism out. So I used the platform at Instagram to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I find also that people tend to look at women of color as voiceless, but in fact that we are just unheard because we are cancelled out so many times.
It's been tough as it is. It would have been a lot easier for me to get the recognition if I was white, but being a Black woman claiming intersectionality and claiming Black feminism, that is tough because history tells us that white feminism and white women are the voices that we used to hear. And Ida B. Wells was one of the first Black women who said, no, this is not right. She was shut down too. And now we're in 2021. Is it easier now? Of course it is. We got technology and platforms, but the toughness, I can recognize the toughness Ida B. Wells must have felt, being closed down all the time and fighting for a simple thing as a voice.
Yeah, but I also find that when I speak to people sometimes, you know, when I speak about my own personal experiences in the educational system or in the job market, and where I find that my experiences have been super racist, you know, they tend to get this weird look on their faces, like, how long do we have to stay in this uncomfortableness, you know? And I'm like, oh no, well, you know.
Well, the best answer is the rest of your life, and your children's lives, and it's an ongoing process.
It really is. It really is.
You need to do the work. You need to do the work. Nothing comes for free, you know. And the advice here is that there's also white people is in that too. They also need to learn. They also need to know that nothing comes for free. And in that, we need to not humble ourselves down, but to recognize the tools that make sure that we listen, we learn, and in that, it's difficult for white people to learn about being humble because they're raised into their entitlement. So they know the word, but the action behind the word, it's difficult because they're raised into their entitlement by the structure. So when a Black person say, well, there is this anti-racism, please look into that, because it's not about me, it's actually about you. I, as a Black person, I didn't came up with slavery. I didn't came up with colonialism. You did as a white person. So please think about that. You are the history of slavery. I'm not. I just survived it. Yeah. My ancestors survived it, so I can sit here and teach in it.
You are definitely one of Girls Are Awesome super role models in this aspect, and just as a person and your work, it's so immensely important, not just to us, but to anybody. What are your biggest role models, and what is a role model to you?
I have a lot of role models, and I teach in all of them. They're Black, and they're queer. They are revolutionary in how they think, they move, they change, and those people are my role models. Those people actually saved my life and show me the way to live. So when you say I'm a role model, I get a little bit, because when I think role model, I think James Baldwin, I think Toni Morrison, I think Angela White Davis, I think Barbara Smith, I think Kwame Ture, I think so many that made my life complete in the way that I live today. So a role model is definitely people that change for the better. Yeah, that's a role model for me.
Do you have any last comments? Something you want to share, or yeah?
I want to say to the young people, you and I, Thandi, we talked about that before we recorded this. We're not that we are boomers, but we are not young anymore. And I think I would say to the young people, and I think you can recognize my words in this, you're not alone. You're really not alone. And we know the fight is tough. We know fighting for freedom is tough. We know that because that runs in our blood. As Black people, as minorities, it runs in our blood. So we know the hardship, but the most important thing is you're not alone. And the voices will now be heard. And they've always been heard. I heard them. Our ancestors heard them before them, So we are not alone. And we're sitting here and we do the work. And yeah, it's tough, but we can do this together. And intersectionality is right. That is, we're doing this together. So Thandi is here and I am here, and we got elders here. So reach out if there's something that you want to ask about, or if there's something that you need, or if there's something comforting that we can give you. You're not alone.
That's super encouraging. And I definitely don't feel alone when we're batting for the same team, So thank you so much, Mica. It was really a pleasure to listen to you and talk to you. Thank you so much.
I thank you, and thank you for inviting me.